In a few seconds, you are about to hear one of the most detailed and shocking near-death experiences on YouTube. My name is Lauren, and I do the interviews for this channel, TNH Afterlife. This is a clip from my interview with Bill Tortorella about his NDE in 1994. And as you will hear, Bill was shown several world events on the other side before they happened here on Earth. The story starts after Bill, who is all alone in a hotel room, loses consciousness from a horrific illness.
Because I physically saw myself leaving my body in this beautiful mist, fluorescent. It was the color of life. It was so magnificent. So I am that color, and I'm inside this beautiful flowing mist floating above my body. Nowadays, they talk about the pineal gland. Well, I knew nothing about that. I didn't know it could have been that because it was coming to the same area, but I knew nothing about the pineal gland whatsoever. I'm floating above the body and I'm feeling free. I'm feeling this freedom and I'm starting to feel some kind of love that I've never felt in my life. I mean, I'm feeling wonderful and I'm looking down at my body. At this moment, I still recognize my body. Soon as I remember saying physically out loud, that body is not alive, or that body is dead. I forgot how I put it exactly. Soon as I said that, this beam of light from behind came from behind me, lit everything up. It was all just bright now and turned me. And this beautiful, I turned and I didn't turn, it turned me. I turned and it drew me into this beautiful gateway, this beautiful tunnel. And the tunnel was made up of these magnificent colors, and I was moving as it's going along. And now I'm starting to move faster and faster. You could see the speed, you can't feel it, but I'm moving faster and faster, and I see these beautiful lights and whizzing and colors moving by me and through me, and all I feel is love and totally protected. I'm totally like I feel like I'm being cradled. I'm being protected by something or someone, and the love is increasing now. I mean, this love is so wonderful and so beautiful. You feel it like build within your soul. And I'll never forget my arrival because this part was unbelievable. When I arrive in heaven, because I believe in God, I arrive in heaven, I say, I'm home. Thank God I'm home. And I was so joyous, and there was other spirits there. There were spirits all around me, and I was just like in amazement, And all of a sudden, I hear another voice for the first time. I hear a soft whisper in my ear saying, "Yes, Bill, you're home in the light of God." I talk today, and the hair on my arm stand up about that because I'll never forget that feeling. That feeling, even though I was in spiritual form, I felt like I was in body form. I felt tears. I felt things like that. I felt the love like you can't imagine here. There's no imagining it. It's impossible because it's thousands of times greater than what we could conceive here. And she said to me, I'm one of your three guardians. I was with you on your way home. I said, I didn't realize you were with me. I remember speaking with her, but of course we're using telepathy. There's no mouths at this time. There's no bodies. She's a beautiful beam of light, and I'm still a floating mist. And but we're having a communication that's unbelievable. I think on the other side we use almost 100% of our mind. When on this side, when on this plane that we're on, I'm not going to say we're dumb people, but I think we only use about 6% or 7% of our mind. And I think some of the greatest minds in the world can only use about 9% of their mind. But on the other side, you feel everything. You converse with family and friends in that same illuminated area. And I knew they were my family. And not only do you converse with everyone at the same time, like you're almost like you're all one, but you're understanding different thoughts and different, you getting these things in your mind, I'm going to say, okay? You're getting actual thoughts from people. You're feeling love. You're feeling attention. You're feeling like you're embraced. It's magnificent. And Antonia said that she was one of my three guardians, right? She said I had two other guardians. And all of a sudden, this light starts to approach me. And now I'm sort of standing alone with Antonia on my side. And this light, this beam, I'm starting to feel, I said, the love never stops growing on that side. Um, he said, hello, Billy. And as soon as he said, hello, Billy, I knew that was my brother's voice. My brother Peter died when I was at 15 or 16 years old. I was. So we're talking, I haven't seen Peter now in 26 years. And now, Peter, and the embrace was so beautiful. It's like we came together in an embrace. It was wonderful. And that feeling was great for a minute or two, I would say. And then he says, we have to leave now. I have where? I said, what? I didn't know what was going on. I knew that I was in full spirit. At this point, I have to bring this up because it's very important. I didn't remember myself here. I had no memory whatsoever of here. All I did remember is that was home, and these were my family and friends, and this is my brother. I remember they whisked me off, we all whisked off together. And now they bring me to this beautiful, beautiful crystal theater. It's magnificent. It's all crystals reflecting the universe, and it's showing combustion and like almost like exploding, stars like nebulas and things like that. But everything's reflecting off these beautiful crystals, and we're all part of this. And it was basically magnificent. But then they start the screen, I call it, and it felt like a flickering screen. They show me the past, they show me the present, and they show me the future. And they're showing me things now. They start showing me wars I was never in. I mean, I was physically never in those wars. It was World War II. But now I have to ask a question to myself. Was I in those wars? See, that part I don't know. It might have been me seeing that, because every event that was any of importance, it stopped that. And it physically showed me those wars. Now it's bringing me to my birth. I physically see my birth, and this is an all life review in the Hall of Events. Now, the Hall of Events, people know that as Akasha Records today. I didn't know when I was writing my books. Some of my books were written 20 years ago. I called it the Hall of Events, so I kept it that way. I learned about Akasha Records a long time ago. You might have heard that term, uh, but I knew it only as the Hall of Events because that's how I saw it. And I had no idea what the near death experience was because I was just a business person when this happened to me. So they take me past my birth, and and it's moving and moving again. We're moving fast, and this, whatever you want to call it, a computer screen or whatever, and it stops in the year, and it's 1963. And I'm sitting in my classroom. I'll never forget this. There's a speaker on the wall. Principal comes over the speaker, and he says that John F. Kennedy was just shot in Dallas, Texas. That was our president at the time, and he was loved. He was loved by lots of people. And I'll tell you, that day I got home, my mother, for some reason, wasn't at the bar because she used to have to go in real early because she was the cook. She was cooking early in the morning. And she's sitting at the kitchen table with Christine, the lady that helped bring me up. Her and Christine are at the table. They're crying their eyes out. And I say, I know, Mom, John F. Kennedy just got shot. But now we're moving again. We're moving in time. And I physically see my near-death experience. So we're moving faster and faster, and I'm seeing all events leading up to my birth, but before that, I see major events. I see the Vietnam War ending. I remember the helicopters landing. We stopped at that event on the roof, the helicopter landing on the roof. I remember Martin Luther King. I remember Bobby. Then I remember not my birth, my near-death experience in 1994. And I re-watched myself again die on the bed. I physically watched myself die on the bed. And then we're moving faster again at speeds that are unbelievable. Like I said, it was like a flickering computer screen, and then it would just stop, and we were all there. We were physically in the scene while it was happening. Now it takes me up to what I know now is 9/11. At that physical time, I didn't know it was 9/11. I thought it might have been. I had a good feeling it was, because I remember saying, I come from Brooklyn, New York, and Manhattan's right across the bridge, and that's where the Twin Towers were. And I remember saying, in all the debris, as it was falling around us, we're at the base of one of the towers, and this debris is just falling, and there's little fires and burning, and it was horribly black smoke. You couldn't see through. People were running, and I remember running towards. I said, "My friends, my friends." I'll never forget that. I said, "My friends, my friends," and they reach out and grab me, because now we're in physical, but we're still spiritual, but we're in physical form. So when you get grabbed, you feel like you're getting grabbed. They reach out and grab me and said, "Bill, you can't do anything." I said, "Well, my friends are in the building." And basically, I think those paramedic skills always kicked in my whole life. They still kick in till today. I think that was just an instinct. And then when they told me I can't do anything, I said, "Why?" I didn't know. They said, "This is not happening. This is the future." At that point, I was really a little confused. I didn't understand what they meant by that. It was the future. After 9/11, moving again, we're in this computer screen again, flickering, it stopped, and then it stops. What I believe today was Baghdad, because I remember the bombs going off, and we're in the center of the town, of the city there, and there's physical bombs going off all around. People are running, and the way I recognized we're in Baghdad was because of the way the people were dressed. I recognized it that way, and from there, again, I started to run at one moment because I was just running from the bombs at this time. Physically, I thought I was going to get hurt because I was in the body. But as I said, you can't, this won't hurt you, Bill. And then they take me to a time that I believe is today. And this time today is so, so important, because the world is at a crossroads. We're in an ascension time frame. So I don't know if something's separating or what, but we're at a crossroads. People have to make choices. There's things I learned on the other side that's so important, and I'm going to bring up in the last thing right now. Things about kindness, things about forgiveness, things about service. These things are so important that people physically start to do this and pay attention to what their life path is, and not veer that much for whatever their motives are. This part is insane, because now they show me a place that's so, so horrible. It's so drastic. I explain it when people ask me, like it was the movie Mad Max, and the people are physically living off others, and they don't mind hurting, killing. They'll do anything for a jug of water. I mean, anything for a scrap of food. It was so, so, so bad. And it was big. It wasn't small. I knew it was on a big scale, even though we were in one area. But it was a big, big scale. So I don't know how this happened. I don't know what made this cut to this point, but it was physically as bad as that movie, if people could remember. then I'm seeing different plateaus, and it's so advanced. Everything on the other side is so advanced. It's so amazing. But the two levels they took me to was one that looked like Mad Max, and then the other side was a beautiful utopia. I believe in my heart where we're going. I think all people with good heart and love within them are going to this utopia. I know when people feel God of the universe inside them on earth, this is what they want us to feel. That's why they send us lessons every day. Very rarely do people pay attention to their lessons, but it's very important that we pay attention to our lessons, our intuition. They come through our intuition of things to do. So all these things run in this kind of sequence. But this utopia is so wonderful. I mean, people live helping, caring, serving. They live as much for themselves as for others. They're kind. They forgive. Kindness and forgiveness is probably the two most important things I say in God's eyes. I believe in God. I believe He created the universe. I believe the universe is the light. The light is God. The light is God. You physically get all the wisdom and knowledge from that light. So that light is within us. We all have a piece of that light inside us right now. That's what I learned. So the whole of events is finished. They showed me the two outcomes. They take me in front of this panel now. Now, these are complete angels on this side. I know they're angels and not spirits because these are so bright. They're all magnificent white angels. They're huge. White in the spectrum is all the colors in the world together as one. And these angels have so much knowledge and wisdom, and they're pouring wisdom into me like I've never experienced anything like this in my life. This wisdom is growing within me. They teach me 9 principles of enlightenment. The first principle is very important. You cannot take another life. You're not allowed to interfere with anyone else's life path. Now, it's important that you understand why. It's not that it's only wrong, and it's probably one of the worst things we could possibly do. But the reasoning that I got from the other side was that you will never know what this person's great grandson or daughter could have achieved. They might have achieved the real cure for cancer, things like that. I mean, it was on that plateau, that kind of energy field that I was learning all this on. And so that was wonderful. The second was your choice of your intuition. Your intuition is so important. Remember, I told you Oren was my intuition. I've been telling you some of the principles along the way going here, but we all have an intuition. Did you ever have deja vu? I ask this to everybody. Do they have deja vu? And they all say yes. Everybody has deja vu. The reason why we have deja vu, because we previewed our life before we came in. We recognize places, things, people that we'd never been there before. I remember growing up. I remember when I was 7 or 8 years old, we used to hop in the train and just go different places, me and my friends, because we could do that when we were kids. Nowadays, you can't do that. Getting back to the intuition part is Orin, the one that sits on my shoulder. Everybody has an Orin. Might not be called Orin, might be called something else for you. When everybody gets there, they'll recognize their intuition as one of the most important things we could possibly have, because it's our intuition that keeps us on a road of choices throughout our life. And this is how our physical spirit grows. Our physical spirit grows in a sequence of choices we make throughout our lifetime till we hit a plateau of love. the plateau we're all looking for is love. So to understand how we have to live in our lifetime is to try to become love. On the other side, you are loved, so you don't have to try to become love. On this side, it's hard because there's a lot of filters in between everything, and it's impossible to feel that love that you feel on the other side here. But the way we experience and feel love here is through our love, through service and kindness, of wisdom and forgiveness. All these things are so important for your soul.